So if you have seen any ads about my group or are maybe considering whether or not the Journeying Through Sexual Development group would be a good fit for you, a few maybe things to think about in terms of what my hope is as the creator of this group for participants as they anticipate participating or just considering if it's a good fit. So a few things that I would hope for caregivers when they complete the group. First would be just a recognition of the really valid reasons why these conversations are hard for us as caregivers. We don't often have models for what it looks like for a caregiver to engage with their child around the area of sexuality in a way that's calm, grounded, accurate, and a way that promotes relational closeness rather than awkwardness and distance. And so because 90% of us have no idea what that even looks like, we don't have a working model to go off of. And so we end up internalizing and continuing to live out a lot of the same anxieties and fears that maybe our parents had when they were trying to help us, maybe our grandparents had when our parents were young. And as kids, we do often really recognize when our caregivers are uncomfortable. And as kids, we want to maintain that sense of closeness with our caregivers. And when we sense something is threatening or making our caregivers feel uneasy, we're going to avoid bringing up those topics that do that for them. And so if we as caregivers can spend some time, pressing in on what are the things that I internalized as a child, given my experiences, given what was said about sexuality in my home growing up, or often what wasn't said, and really just having some compassion for ourselves about why we're struggling, I think that can create a sense of maybe safety to choose differently for our own kids. And so first and foremost, a major goal for myself is just to support caregivers to have a greater sense of messages that they've already been sending to their kids, why they've been sending those messages or having a hard time with those things, and how to move through some of those very common anxieties, fears, and myths that most of us carry around the area of sexuality. And another portion of the group is really just to offer you pragmatic language and support. How do I talk to my kids about what sex is, what intercourse is, all these other peripheral topics related to sexuality? I often talk about how if it was just as simple as having the right words to say, someone would have already written that book, distributed it everywhere, and no one would have any sexual problems anymore. But it can't just be as simple as having the right words to say that will alleviate our fears or make us feel like we've done it the right way, and so now our kids are going to be okay. And so if we don't spend time processing the emotional atmosphere that we carry into these conversations, no matter the best words that we might have or the best script that we might have isn't going to cut it, right? Our kids are still going to internalize that sense of this isn't safe for my caregiver, and then maybe not safe for me to bring up with my caregiver, right? Something else that I would hope for in terms of kids or participants being able to support their kids would really be able to shift away from this idea that it's like a one and done talk, and really recognize that if we can take the pressure off of ourselves to have it be all or nothing, this is my one chance, and if I don't do it right, now my kid's gonna be messed up. If we can shift that to where it can be 1,000 30-second conversations over the course of our kids' time with us in our home, that relieves the pressure of ourselves to have all the right answers and to say it right the first time, because I can revisit this. We can come at this question again in later conversations, and it puts less pressure on our kids to feel like they have to sit through a long conversation that maybe they're not even developmentally ready for yet or have capacity. And so it just makes the whole process so much more natural, at ease, moment by moment. We can trust, we can say one topic here, one little conversation here, and I can let it go or revisit it. And at the end of the day, the main message would be that we want to have our kids see us as askable parents, where when I have a curiosity or a question or an experience, or I've been exposed to something that makes me feel uneasy, curious, maybe I feel a sense of lack of safety or disgust or just curiosity, I know that I have a caregiver that I can go to with all of these things, that even if they don't have all the answers, even if they say maybe not the exact right thing, at the end of the day, it's within the context of a relationship that I know is safe, that I know is with somebody who will work with me to get the answers that I need. And all of that is a way to deepen relationship and connection with our kids, to have this be a context where if I can talk to my caregiver about something so vulnerable as sexuality, then certainly I can talk to them about other aspects of my development, of other hurts or emotions that I have, because we're laying the foundation of us as caregivers being safe spaces for our kids.